Students, let us start the discussion on 23rd January 2016 newspaper. Now the first article is related to the Pakistan. What shall be the India's strategy in engaging with Pakistan? So there is a lot of criticism about India's foreign policy towards the Pakistan. It is majorly centered around the Pakistan's military establishment and also terrorism. So, India has to de-hyphenate itself focusing on the Pakistan is the major central theme of this article. In the long-term interest, India's economic growth and development of various factors such as health and nutrition to its masses has to matter for its diplomacy rather than engaging with the Pakistan. So in this context, there are many inconsistencies, ups and downs, engagement and disengagement with Pakistan. So for the last 2 or 3 years, the Pakistan and India, they are getting re-hyphenated in the global diplomatic circles. The nuclear security doctrine, or else the Pakistan security doctrine, is majorly centered around India. It sees India as an existential threat. That very much notion is essential for the military establishment of Pakistan to prove to the country that its relevance is very much exists. 25% of the budgets of the entire Pakistan goes to the military establishments. And military is not just confined to the borders, it has got its huge presence in the civilian administration too. So, the bleed on the Pakistan economy is none other than its military. So India shall not raise in competition to the Pakistan its military capabilities, its major focus to fight the poverty and disease. The second thing is, the Pakistan uses the terror establishment as its strategic asset to bleed India by 1,000 cuts. And Pakistan military is not a monolithic establishment, and there are many different factions into it. And military controls the great deal of Pakistan's India policy rather than the civilian administration. So in this context, India shall not get into an excessive concentration on the Pakistan and shall not spend all its energies on the Pakistan. Rather than it shall focus to grow as a supreme nation or as a superpower in the world. So in this context, what the author suggests is this. India shall believe that a stable Pakistan, a prosperous Pakistan, a democratic Pakistan is in the best interests of this country. So it has to strengthen the civilian arm of the Pakistan, or it has to consistently engage with the civilian administration of the Pakistan. And second thing is, Pakistan shall be one just neighbor compared to the other neighbors, and the excessive preeminence to the Pakistan will reduce the stature of India and it equates that with Pakistan. So India has to grow beyond this. Recently, between last 5 to 6 years, India was getting hyphenated with China, which is good for it economically because it leads to the flow of investments. And this hyphenation is majorly in the growth, development and economy related factors rather than the defense matters. So in this context, shifting away from that is not good for India. And next is the industrial corridors. So what are the various industrial corridors proposed? The Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor, the Amritsar-Kolkata industrial corridor, the Bangalore-Madras or Bangalore-Chennai industrial corridor, Bangalore and Mumbai economic corridor, Visakhapatnam and Chennai industrial corridor. These are believed to be the growth centers of Indian economy. But however, the progress is not on the expected lines over here. Prime Minister's office and Cabinet Secretariat are directly monitoring the progress on these projects. The major challenges identified here are the land acquisition and also the financial availability. We are getting the finances from World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. But however, the regulatory bottlenecks and land acquisition, these have to be simplified to make a progress, industrial progress on these areas. Now, NFHS 3, there is another article over here. Now, between 2005 to 2015, India has made a dramatic economic progress. But at the same time, the progress on the health indicators is not very appreciative. If you can see clearly over here, the malnutrition is reduced from 39% to 34%, just 5 points. So it means we are failing to convert our wealth into so-called development. And the nutritional security for the children and early pregnancy care to the mother and nutritional supplements to the pregnant woman in the form of iron, folic acids, proper antenatal care, immunization to the children, all these are very critical towards improving the nutritional and health standards in the country. So the Bihar and Madhya Pradesh in the NFHS 4, the first phase, they showed a dismal performance. It shows that there are many differences across the country, regional variations in the country in the healthcare outcomes. So India needs to develop a comprehensive strategy to bring in a proper healthcare plan and policy. So data is very crucial for this. NFHS data, instead of giving for 7 to 10 years, it has to be given every 2 or 3 years for necessary policy corrections. Now coming to the United States higher education and challenges to the Indian students. So recently, many of the Indian students from Telangana state, they are being sent back or deported, or they are being not given an admission, or else I will say they are not admitted into the universities once they are being granted the visa. Now, they are denied admission or entry into the United States in a nutshell. So, it shows a lack of coordination between the US consular agencies and the US Customs and Border Protection. So, a visa, once it is granted in the consular agencies, a student, when he enters onto the American soil, when he was rejected and deported back, that's a huge cost and a mental strain onto the mind of that student. So the Homeland Security Act, or US Patriot Act, so it has brought in the changes towards identifying the students who are coming on a so-called as terror intentions towards the universities. So in this context, it has also provided various limitations on the genuine students, and it brought in huge coordination between different agencies. Coming to the Department of Education of the United States, it monitors only the quality of education, but not the admission process into the higher universities. And finally, the universities, the civic system, etc., they are exploring or exploiting the middle class market of India, which is highly aspirational for the education to their advantage. So in this context, we are allowing for the foreign universities, and universities like this, they establish in India, and then the exploitation is going to be very much on our soil. So I'm trying to link it up to the foreign universities bill. The next is opposition must in a democracy. So this article is important for me for two reasons. The court has issued contempt notice to Arundhati Roy, and the second thing is the argument of the Arundhati Roy as an opposition is like this. It is not as an opposition party, but the civil society is the greatest opposition to the government of the day. And the freedom of speech and expression given to the civil society is in line with its role as an opposition in the government, opposition to the government. So the civil society, in its democratic role, it has every right to criticize the government. This role, opposition role of the civil society, is crucial for a democratic welfare society like India. Finally, uncertainty in Kashmir. After the death of Mr. Syed, there is no progress in the formation of the government in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, I tried to link two important articles over here. Recently, the extremism is growing in Kashmir. That's a cause of concern. And the Islamic State flags, and also young people demonstrating themselves to be the terrorists, etc., it is also increasing. So in this context, The lack of a stable government will further lead chaos in the state. So in this context, the governor's rule or long governance rule in the state is not in the good interest of the democracy, and in the long run it is not good for the Indian Republic. So it is the time both the parties have to resolve their differences, or they have to make a choice towards the fresh elections. Now in the last elections, the Jammu and Kashmiris, they have participated in high numbers in the vote as in the elections. So it means the political parties shall not make them the losers in this process again. The opportunistic politics shall not make the people to lose the confidence on democracy. That is my take on this particular topic. And the Islamic State and its influence is increasing in India. That's a clear sign that on the Republic Day, the Islamic State has planned for the attacks on the parade. So that's one thing which I am very much concerned about. So the Islamic State is not expected to make inroads into India because of our secular fabric and also because of the diversities that are involved in this particular country. And the middle class segment which is developing among the minorities will not allow for the Islamic State to grow in this country. But however, there are certain fringe elements which are growing close to the Islamic State. So India has to guard against it. And most of these people are using the social media as a tool to encourage others or to induce others into this particular propaganda. So in this case, the social media and the security concerns is an important topic, and it is the question last year. Thank you very much. And I have uploaded the second video with regard to ARC report. So please consult the Civils Prep team so that they can help you out on that particular issue. So almost the 10 videos I will be uploading, and every week I will be uploading at least 2 or 3 videos regarding to the second ARC. Now, follow them meticulously and update your class notes wherever it is required. For example, electoral reforms, update the class notes over there. The anti-defection law, update the relevant class notes. So please update your materials and notes as for the second ARC reports. Thank you very much. All the best.